Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. We've got an extremely special show lined up. Ben and Rob from Edge of Wonder are here, and we're going to have an excellent conversation. We're going to be talking about censorship on YouTube, among other things. And I know that everybody here knows exactly what we're talking about. I've got lots of people waiting in the audience, so I'm really appreciative for you guys for being here. We can see people from Louisiana, Colorado, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, saw Michigan, Oregon, Van Isle, people from the Corn Belt, people from all over. We've got patriots from all over the globe. We're going to get into this conversation here in just a moment, but we'll be right back after a quick word from my sponsor. Thanks for sticking around, guys. One of the best things you can do to help protect your personal phone and internet data is to sign up for a free 30-day trial of Virtual Shield VPN mobile and desktop app. This will allow you to create a secure connection to another network over the internet. Virtual Shield can be used to shield your browsing activity from prying eyes, whether on a public Wi-Fi connection, foreign country, or just at home. Here, let me show you how easy it is. I'm going to go to virtualshield.com or the App Store and download the free Virtual Shield 30-day trial. Install it and click Connect, and there you go. Once I'm connected, my IP address is now different than before. Virtual Shield is offering a Black Friday month-long special of 40% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, Residential Access, and VIP Performance plans for as low as a cup of coffee. Sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is about. You've got nothing to lose. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hope everyone's having a lovely night. We've got Ben and Rob from Edge of Wonder. Guys, how are you?
Hey, Red Pill. How are you, man?
Doing well.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. I've been big fans of you guys for a long time. So, you know, the first thing I definitely want to talk about is the censorship that we're experiencing on YouTube. I mean, I know it's hitting you guys. You guys have almost like over 500,000 subscribers, right? Am I correct there?
Well, we would.
We should.
We should. if it was continuing on the path that we were, like,
we'd be at around 750,000 subscribers.
Honestly.
To be fair, like conservatively around 500, but we've been for almost a year now. Well, almost a year straight. We were at around 370,000 subscribers.
Okay.
For every 2,000 subscribers we'd get, 1,900 or more would mysteriously get unsubscribed. And the only reason we know that is because all of our fans would message us about it and tell us that was going on.
Well, aside from that, I mean, there's other channels that we're subscribed to that we keep having to rescribe as well to their channels. So
yeah,
there's definitely something going on. And, YouTube says they deactivate accounts that don't watch channels, but this doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I mean, if you don't watch a channel in 3 days, what does that mean, that they deactivate you all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's a little something I call baloney.
Yeah, it's highly suspect. And I know that you guys, I mean, you seriously looked at your analytics. So you know exactly who should be on there, how many people should be watching on a regular basis. When did you first start noticing that something was up, that it wasn't right?
Well, YouTube put out a notice in January that they were going to
2019.
2019, that they were going to start making some changes. We already suspected something was going to happen before then anyway. I mean, actually, the best month that we had ever was probably December of 2018.
It was nuts. Yeah. We had like 60-something thousand subscribers that month, maybe 66 or something.
Yeah, and like our videos, like no matter what you search for, were coming up on the top, because what YouTube found was when people would watch one of our videos, they would go back and watch a lot of our previous videos and watch all of them, like all the way through. So YouTube was really promoting us, because they're like, oh my gosh, like, this is good. It's good for YouTube, good for us, so.
Well, and we were trying to play the YouTube game, like we were trying to do everything right that the algorithm would like. We were feeding the algorithm basically to get more better and more view time every week, and all the different kinds of things that YouTube would like to be able to promote the show, just so that we could reach more people and hopefully educate more people on the seriousness of what's going on right now. I mean, you know all about that, you know?
Yeah. For sure. Well, so how did you guys get started making videos? Because I was telling you earlier, your production quality is so good. Like when I first saw your videos, I just assumed that you must have had like a background in television or media or something like that, because I mean, it's a step above.
Well, actually, there's a big, huge conspiracy against our two channels going out right now of who had the first background.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, everyone was like, oh man, this guy Red Pill, or yeah, the Red Pill 78, like he used your style. And then we heard that people were saying that we used your style. So yeah, it's just,
yeah, little do they know that we all just grew up at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Similar design aesthetic.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, Rob and I really talked about doing a show like this back in 2016, actually, but you know, the resources wasn't there at all. We really didn't know too much. Even like the live aspect, the live streaming and stuff was just really starting to come out around that time, and it was just kind of like more like a pipe dream, like, oh, this would be cool to do this. We were really into the same stuff. We would, oh man,
that's right. Keep talking.
Okay.
Another conspiracy.
There you go. Yeah, it came on. Hey, sorry. Anyway, so you know, and so we would really share a lot of like stories that we've had. We got to know each other really well, and it really started happening. So I was, we were both working in the same media, and I was the chief photographer, and I was going out to covering all these events. Like I was at Ferguson at the peak of the protests in Ferguson, like literally, like, you know, police cars are like burning in front of me, protesters everywhere, bricks flying over my head, you know. And then I was at the Trump inauguration and seeing the protests there.
You went to Hong Kong.
I went to Hong Kong during the protests in Hong Kong. Like I was really going all over the place. And what I started noticing is that something would happen that was a little bit more isolated. It really wasn't that big a deal. And the next day I would see that situation in all of the mainstream media, like totally blowing it out of proportion. And it really made me think about what was really going on. Like, wait a minute, something weird is happening. And so I'd come back and start talking to Rob about all these things that I was experiencing.
Well, and also, meanwhile, I was the creative director of this media. You know, it's called the Epoch Times.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, you know, there's been all of this stuff, like we're still involved or we're funded by them or all of that stuff. But actually, we stopped working for them and we went over to do this. We wanted to start this whole thing, and everyone there was cool about it just because they support freedom of speech, unlike most media out there right now.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So I was laying out the newspapers every day, and I would be watching what was going on, and watching what CNN was saying, what MSNBC was saying, and laying out a paper that said something very different, because all of us were like, wait, these are the facts, you know?
Right.
And it was just, and then, you know, I'm listening to Ben talk about this stuff too, and we were just like, what is going on? Really, what is going on out there, right?
Yeah.
And so when the opportunity came to do a channel, you know, our idea was like, well, it just felt like everyone out there had forgotten how to think for themselves. And we just wanted this whole conversation revolved around beating people over the head because they're conspiracy theorists and all of that stuff. It's like, well, let's go ahead and talk. Let's just have a channel where we can talk about anything. Any kind of phenomena out there, we should give it a shot and be fair. Instead of me having to go on YouTube and literally watching these jokers on what's BuzzFeed? Like they have that BuzzFeed.
Oh, we won't say the name.
Anyway, whatever it is.
It's okay. The video's already demonetized.
Yeah, they come on and they're like, everything is ridiculous to them, and anyone who thinks that this phenomena could be real is like insane.
Well, okay,
and
to be fair, one guy thinks that way, the other
whatever.
A little bit more
honestly, it bothered me, because it was like, these guys aren't giving it a fair shot.
I mean, yeah,
a lot of channels are like this.
Yeah,
and so, you know, this
or they're like based on like fear porn. You know,
that's
it's like, oh, they were going to end
the apocalypse.
Yeah, you know, it's like, keep going.
Well, yeah. So anyway, we were like, well, I was watching this stuff for years before we started, as you wondered.
We both were
on YouTube, yeah, and I was always like really interested in all kinds of different content, but there was kind of a thread throughout most of the channels was that like they were really poorly produced, or it was like a robot voice. Like I actually
I can't stand the robot voice.
Listening to a robot voice to get critical information, and I was like, can we just
not use robot voice?
Well, like can we just have a normal conversation and like make this stuff normal to talk about?
So what we kind of did in the beginning was we sat down and really started thinking, what would we want to watch? Like, what would we, what are we looking for into a channel? And what we kind of came up with was like,
and then Ben was like, Rob, I can't work with you anymore because no one wants to see you. I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, it was kind of funny because Rob was, because he had such an important role, and originally when he came over, because he was doing, you're super busy, so he was just like, I'm just going to do all the branding work and kind of do behind the scenes stuff. So the first episode was actually just me, but then afterwards I was like, Brian, you should come on because this is going to be so much better with two people. But really we sat down and we're like, okay, what do we want to watch? Well, we want to watch something that's really informative, something that's pretty good level of production and fun and entertaining, and a lot of reference to pop culture since, we grew up in the 80s and the 90s.
Well, and how else are you going to get people to understand stuff if we're not referencing the movies that are literally like staring at us in the face and telling us this stuff directly, pretty much in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, predictive programming.
Exactly. Right. So that's pretty much, the beginning of it and how we really got started. And then Eric, who is our video editor, he's just a phenomenal video editor. But the funny thing about Eric is we got him on board because it was he was the best that we could find, but he pretty much knew nothing of this genre at all.
Oh, he wasn't a truther?
He came from a K-pop background of like K-pop stars and like, being on camera.
He would listen to what we were talking about and he would literally be like
speaking in a different language.
Yeah.
And then we brought Laura Eisenhower on for the first time, and he was just like, I have no idea what she's talking about. But then
none of us did at first, honestly. You had to listen really close. It's honestly, she's great. Like, she says things in a language that she's used to.
Right.
But that if you're kind of coming on to listen to Laura for the first time, you're going to be like,
it's a little overwhelming.
What's a dodecahedron?
That's right. Well, yeah.
And that
Very
was so
true.
funny because later after like a year, we interviewed her again, and then I think it might've been the dodecahedron. He's like, I still don't know what a dodecahedron is. And Eric's editing his video and he looks at Rob and he's like, oh, I can explain it to you what it is. And I was like, okay, we got him. He's totally red pill.
Yeah, that's when we know Eric was on board.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, now he's like totally fine, doing all this. He understands things just as much as we do because he's editing every single one of our videos.
What's really interesting is that literally all we've done is we've just taken a ragtag group of people with different skill sets and we've just pulled them into trying to make this channel. Mm-hmm. But what's really interesting is I've noticed a lot of comments where people are like, they're like, these guys, their production quality is so good. Somebody must be behind them and like all of this stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't or something. But
right.
we're just us, right? So we're just trying to produce a show to get information out there, like as truthful that we can come to. And if we want to be completely above board about this, some of the things that we found wrong with current investigative journalism is that these guys are just out for a Pulitzer. We don't care about getting a Pulitzer.
Not gonna happen.
Epic Times isn't.
No,
but
we're not talking about them, but we're talking about
media,
investigative journal and journalists in general. It's like they're like somehow, I don't know, but they're really bad at just giving information and then being like, hey, if anyone can help or if there's more information, let's like figure it out together kind of thing.
Yeah, that
like,
doesn't exist.
Yeah, like they just won't do anything and then they're sitting on all of this information and it's just this I don't know, it's this strange thing that's going on. And then we just want to put information out there and see if we can all come to a conclusion, or give people tools so that they can research for themselves, because nothing is more powerful than someone researching for themselves and coming to it. And it's okay if we're wrong, like we'll admit it.
Yeah, definitely.
If we did something wrong, or if we made a mistake, which we do sometimes, you know, we'll just,
it happens.
You know, we'll be the first to make a redaction or tell people.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, we're such a small team doing this, and we're just working like crazy hours. You know, we're writing everything ourselves, researching everything ourselves. I mean, we have a couple people here and there helping us out, but I mean, essentially it's us doing like all of the hands-on, you know, work, aside from like a couple video editors we have, you know, now. But yeah, I mean, this is 100% us doing this. I mean, originally, like, so NTD is like a sister media of Epoch Times, and we were kind of partnering with them in the very, very beginning, but now we've completely broken off, and we're like our own separate entity 100% now.
So did you guys have like any of these skills before you started? Like, had you guys had experience with editing or filming?
Just mostly Eric.
Yeah, I had experience with doing live streams, because it kind of started actually as at the inauguration of Trump, and that night I actually just went to go get something to eat, and
you just happened to show up at Trump's inauguration.
Well, it's not the Trump's inauguration, but it was these
just walking down the street.
Yeah. Well, this is like in the evening, and I was so hungry I didn't really eat anything all day. I turned the corner, and there's this massive protest going on in front of me, and the police actually lit tear gas. And I'm like, what the heck? So I just
didn't sign up for this
on my phone. And it was like the first time I really went live, well, like first or second time I went live, like Facebook Live. And this is why I was working at Epoch Times. And there was at one point that night, I had 20,000 people at one time watching it. And then after that, they're like, Ben, you need to go out and do more of this stuff, you know? So I got used to doing the Facebook Live and kind of talking to people and doing this. That was pretty much all the experience I really had. It wasn't like, you know, high level production stuff that I had, you know, but being as a photographer and being involved with some of the productions of things, and, you know, understanding, you know, how cameras work and video cameras and everything else, and lighting, framing, all of that, you know, I already had that background, and being on a lot of sets where I was taking photos for people, you know, and also like I had some acting background and things like that. So in high school, not much though. So, you know, I had
Shakespeare
that.
By Ben.
Actually, yeah, it was like a couple of Shakespeare things. But, you know, so I kind of had that. Rob had all of the like amazing Photoshop skills and
just graphic design,
like
just a lot of graphical stuff. Like I have a very long you know, tenure in graphic design, creative direction, branding, and all of that stuff. And yeah, like I said, it was just us pulling together everything that we knew and trying to create something that would hopefully like do the job of red pilling as many people as we could.
Mm-hmm. Not, you know, and we didn't know who our audience was in the beginning, so we wanted to keep things a little bit, you know, light and not so in depth. And slowly, as we kind of got going, you know, we'd go a little deeper and a little deeper, and you know.
It was great. You guys have such an amazing on-screen chemistry. I figured that you both like grew up together. You know, I mean, it's
we might as well have.
Yeah, we literally had the exact same childhood, pretty much.
Yeah,
right?
We did. Like when we talk about stuff that was like going on in our neighborhood and stuff, it was always like the same stuff, just in two different places.
Same movies you grew up with, same toys,
exactly.
Everything.
Yeah.
So.
I got to do just a couple of quick thank yous to the crowd, guys. John Lamb and Sue McClure, thank you very much. Sue says, is California's situation improving or getting worse, social and fire-wise? I will give you guys a little tip here. The first time I've said this on the air, there is a group that is in the process of seceding from the state of California, the new California state it's going to be called. And it sounds a little wacky, you know, to think that, you know, California is going to split up. It's actually 52 of the 56 counties in the state of California. It's the majority of the state of California. So they are in the process of seceding from California. They're going to create their own state under the Constitution. They have the legal right to do so. And they will be coming on the show here probably in the next couple of weeks. So I think the situation in California is going to get better. Do you guys spend much time out in California?
Not as much. I actually like California, but
I'm just surprised California hasn't sunk into the ocean, to be quite frank. That place is, Ben doesn't like when I say that, but like,
well, no, I mean, you're right though. I mean, it is like,
socially speaking, what a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, I have friends who live in California who've bought property in California, and they're like, yeah, there's a homeless guy sleeping out on my front lawn and the cops won't ask him to leave. Like, this is what's going on in California right now, you know, like there's anyway, we could have a long conversation about that, but actually this is the first time I'm hearing that news that you just said, and that's really interesting to me, and I'm really happy to hear there's people that aren't happy with what's going on that are, you know, exercising their rights to do something.
Well, on top of that, we actually have a lot of like we're finding out that there's a lot of secret like celebrities in Hollywood who are watching our show, and they're letting us know more. Some people have contacted us directly, and some people have secretly contacted us, and some people like send us like anonymous letters and stuff like that. But
like Kate Beckinsale on, or
right?
Yeah, that's great. So Jeff George just says great material. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you for that, Jeff. Angel Eyes says thanks. Ben Schwagel. Hey guys, remember me? I want you guys to take a serious look into flat Earth. Specifically prove it's round. No one can do it. I know we've both done flat Earth shows, so this is great.
Yes. We've done 2 flat Earth shows, and I'll be honest, we had, you know, an open mind coming into it, you know, but I'm
just gonna say this, okay? Most of the flat earthers that I found have taken an excerpt from the Bible and translated in a way that's convenient for themselves, but that isn't actually the way that I believe it should be translated. So they're saying they're taking the part that says that the world, like the firmament, is flat, but the firmament means something much greater than the earth. Okay,
explain the firmament for us, Rob.
Well, the firmament is everything. Yeah, it's everything in this dimension that you could possibly imagine with your human mind. So we're talking about planets, space, all of that is the firmament.
The colossal universal firmament, right? Like, we're not just like one single spot.
And if you
multiple dimensions,
right?
All of it,
and if you think about this in terms of physics, like if there are multiple dimensions and each of them are on a different flat layer, let's say, well, you're just talking about this layer is flat, meaning it's one dimension. But that doesn't mean that the Earth is flat. There is literally no evidence to back that up. And look, I don't like NASA either. I don't think they're telling the truth. Yeah. But there is a point where you've taken it too far, flat earthers.
I had David Weiss on the program recently from the Flat Earth podcast. He's a great guy. Love David.
That guy.
Yeah, he's great. You know, and I find it fascinating, the argument, you know, that people get very passionate about it. And I'm impartial, we'll say. I have my own personal beliefs. I haven't been proven that the Earth is flat yet. I mean, there's a lot of arguments, and people will argue passionately about it. But, you know, just for having that show, so many people were just up in arms, you know, just angry. How dare you? You know, you're destroying your own credibility. But, you know, I mean, I really respect you guys for having the variety of shows that you do, because I'm the exact same way. I want to have as many shows about as many different topics as possible. And when you're producing shows on such a regular basis like this, it's almost impossible to not do that, you know? So like when people get upset, have you had many people getting upset at you for doing like a particular topic or
the flat Earth? I think flat Earth was, I mean, oh my gosh.
There were 2 really controversial videos. There was the Flat Earth series, were very controversial.
I think we've gotten more hate messages from the Flat Earth than almost anything in the moon.
But the Stanley Kubrick moon video that we did, and the reason why is because it's related to the Flat Earth.
Right.
Well, that was yeah, and because people people were commenting who were flat earthers, but they wouldn't say it directly that they were flat earthers. So they were arguing, different things. And it's like,
here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to say about this. Just like, we don't have to spend that much time on this because obviously people are as tired as we are of this argument. The flat earth theory right now doesn't matter. The reason why it doesn't matter is because we have bigger fish to fry, namely the criminal activity that is going on in the government. So why don't we put that argument down for a little while and focus on exposing these pedophiles, and then we can come back to the flat earth theory at a time in the future when it's convenient for everyone.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and this is what I believe it was a whole psyop from the very beginning.
I thought that as well, yeah.
Yeah, people already don't trust NASA, so I believe actually this is the cabal putting this out on purpose to get people to, like he just said, get people to argue over stupid things without focusing on the real issues.
And look, if God himself came down here and said, Rob, the earth is flat, I would be like, God, I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. I got your back on that, right? And I hope that the people on the other side of the argument feel the same way. But at the moment, I really don't think that that's an important thing we need to be arguing about when the state of the world is in such a situation that we need to be focused on more important things. Yeah.
I absolutely agree, 100%. All right. Sharon Barassa says, awesome show, guys. Thank you very much, Sharon, for that super chat. 27 Sparkle and Renee P., thank you both. Thank you for all you do, she says. TG West 62, thank you. Mythical, super happy you have Ben and Rob on tonight. I am as well. Thank you for that. Ben Schwagel says, you guys should interview David Weiss too. Have an actual discussion with him. If the Earth actually is flat, then we need to question those talking about space stuff. You know who I'm talking about. Now, this right here, I love you, Ben Schwagel, but this argument, about the fakery of NASA. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen all of the same videos that I've seen. Clearly they are putting out videos that are, done on a sound stage or with models on wires. The list goes on. And this is, I would say one of the main arguments that flat earthers have for, saying that they're right. I have my own theories about why NASA would be faking videos. What do you guys think about why they would?
That's obvious.
Yeah, the whole thing is a lot of this stuff. There is UFOs, unidentified objects, all kinds of things that, including images on the Mars and on the moon.
Yeah. This
is the real reason why they're covering things up. And also, I think our Earth, looking at our Earth, I think that it's like people said, well, the doctor and the photos of the Earth and things. And I do believe that, because I think that either A, they're trying to show the Earth more brown than it is to try to prove a point in that direction, or for other reasons. So I don't believe, or like storms are bigger or something like that. I don't believe that they're trying to cover up the Earth as flat. But these other reasons are what I believe. What about you?
I think that, let's get away from the whole Earth argument for a second, and let's look at the Smithsonian, dare I say it.
Yeah.
Like, our current understanding of the world is an extremely manufactured understanding of the world. They
100.
Tell us what they want us to know so that we have an understanding that suits whatever agenda is out there.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of evidence of all different things that are currently being hidden by big institutions that I shall not name. And the whole purpose of, we're talking about giants that have been found, like different weird beings that have been found that used to maybe be on the Earth that no longer are, including dinosaurs, etc.
Yeah.
Like, why are they hiding those things from us? Why can't we have disclosure on these things? And the reason why is because it would change the history of the Earth. It would change the narratives that are currently out there that is convenient for these people to rule. And the same goes with space. So when we're talking about what's going on out there, the reason why this information is so hard to get is because if all of that was just public information, for one, it's very possible people currently couldn't handle it. And two, I think that they would lose control over the narrative that they've been telling.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Thank you for saying that. Ben Schwagel says, also the news is out now that aliens are actually extra dimensional. This is great. Justin Fall's going to be on the program here in a couple weeks, and we'll talk about that. And most likely demons. Also check out the Aramaic translation of the Hebrew text, very descriptive of everything. I personally don't read Aramaic, so I haven't seen the Aramaic text, but you guys know anything about that?
The
Specifically?
Aramaic text, not as much, to be honest, but going what you're saying about like demons and interdimensional beings. I mean, we're both right there with you on that. I think that a lot of people out there have experienced very unusual things, both in both sides of the spectrum, really positive things and really negative things. And a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. And that's one of the biggest things that we noticed when we started the channel, of how many comments we were really getting of people thanking us for talking about these things, that so many people were just like, these things are happening to me and I'm just so afraid of telling anybody about it. And like, you guys talking about it helps me, like, I feel like I can connect with you guys. And then, so then a lot of our fans were saying like trying to tell us their stories, and we just didn't have time to read everybody's stories. So we started creating Facebook pages for like some of our big fans that have a lot of these stories to share with one another. So many of them have connected. I see them like all friends now on their Facebook and stuff like that. So, this is another reason for the show. We really wanted to build a community and, have people connect, share, and just feel like they're home, basically.
Yeah. So, I couldn't agree more. I think I was just actually, it was interesting. I was just reading a comment that said, I like Ben and Rob, but they hold back a lot. And actually, it's
kind of true.
I want to address that for a second. I think
just lay it out.
I think it is true, but I think it's true because we can't speak our minds completely due to censorship by YouTube. That's why we created edgeofwonder.tv so that we could actually speak openly. The other thing I want to say about, oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was saying that was the lead in for the next topic, but keep going. We'll go back to it.
Oh, yeah, no, well, to turn back to the alien versus interdimensional conversation, I think this is a really important one. I really think that people right now talk more about aliens than they should. Like, if we were to look at the universe like a percentage of beings, you're talking about alien beings being like 0.000000001% of the amount of beings in the universe.
Right.
And you're talking about aliens, but most of them are interdimensional. So I think like this whole idea of, I really believe, like, if I was to make a prediction, as time goes on, people will be looking to these ancient texts more and being like, wow, it really was like that. Why are our books so messed up?
Yeah. I'm on the same page. So I was going to say the lead in, as far as community, you guys have created this website, edgeofwonder.tv. It's like your go around for to beat the censorship. So I actually am going to be showing it on the TV right now. So tell me about this. Tell me about the process of making this website and how it works.
Yeah. So what happened was, we had this really good month in December of 2018, but we were just so afraid. We didn't have control, YouTube could pull the plug at any moment or something could happen. So we really came together and thought, we need something as a backup because YouTube was our only lifeline. If that something happened with that, like, we would have to stop doing Edge of Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
So we created edgeofwonder.tv where, it wasn't like we honestly didn't really want to create it. It was just, we had no choice. And, and so we charge people $9.99 a month, or it's like $108 for a year. And we're publishing content on there that we're not publishing on YouTube, knowing that it's going to get censored on YouTube.
Right.
So that's where we're really not holding back at all and really just saying everything that we can on our edgeofwonder.tv. And a lot of people got angry at us saying like, oh,
gatekeepers.
Why are you charging content or whatever? And they're looking at us as the bad guys. But what people don't understand, it's not about us.
It's not about money either.
It's not about money either. It's just, this is our full-time job.
Exactly.
We stopped everything to do this. We have a full team. We're trying to produce very, very high level quality content for everybody. And we were just forced by YouTube to do this because of the censorship. We had no choice but to go this route.
Well, and the other thing is that when all of this was going down with the censorship, we were looking at these gigantic social media apparatuses. We're talking about Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, Amazon. They just own our lives. They own everything on the internet, these huge things, right? And there is no place for people to go that is controlled by normal people anymore.
No, there isn't.
And they're all operations. When you start digging into them, you just start finding that these are actually all operations to take our information and all of this stuff. And we were like, well, first of all, if we can have a safe place, if this happens to other people, we can actually invite them on and actually give them fair wages for their research and their work.
Right.
Like we want to have a place where, like, for instance, if something happens to your channel, we'll be like, come on to edgeofwonder.tv and let's make this thing bigger.
Sweet.
Right? Like whatever we can do, right?
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, is eventually if we can get this thing going and we can get it big enough and people are coming there to get their information, all of us can all pool our collective research there and then share in the revenues, but also like get the information out and then build something big so that we can take this back and we don't have to rely on them.
You know,
we're really thinking big on this, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, the great irony is that people want good production value. They want quality content on time, on a schedule. But then as soon as you put the time and the effort into it, and becomes necessary to fund it in some way, you've always got a group of people who are going to say that you shouldn't be doing that. That sounds like communism to me. I mean, like I should share everything, and get absolutely nothing for it. I mean, if people want quality content, there has to be a market and it has to be funded in some fashion. So I applaud you guys for putting together this website and making a place where people very possibly could come and work collaboratively. I think it's something that's going to be very necessary in the near future. We know that there's going to be big changes again to the algorithm on December 10th. Have you guys been thinking about that? How things might change?
Yeah, and then like coming with Sam Tripoli from
Tinfoil Hats.
Tinfoil Hat Productions. His YouTube just completely got shut down. We were on his channel 2 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden, just the other day, it's like just out of nowhere, his channel is deleted. So personally, I was talking to some other people who have some other YouTube channels, and it looks like YouTube really wants to go into a Netflix type model.
Really?
So. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it seems like.
One of
slowly progressing,
and it's one of the speculations. There's a few different things that they could do, but one of them is a Netflix model.
Yeah, and so and the thing is, it's like I think we don't like to consider ourselves like on the right side or a conservative channel. Like we don't think about it. We're seriously looking at this from the middle point of view, and we're just focusing only on the truth. But, I think a lot of these other channels that are more left-leaning channels, they probably are like, we need to get rid of all these conspiracy channels. But what they don't understand, anything that's not monetized could be affected by this YouTube change. Exactly. And a lot of people are going to get upset now. So YouTube, it's going to be very weird what's going to happen on December 10th. Which, by the way, is also kind of strange because it sounds like the FISA report is going to come out on December 9th.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So, the whole point here is that, trying to get the message across, a fair wage for whatever it is that you're doing. We're not talking about exploiting these people, people who are seeking the truth out. I mean, like, it's great that you guys are still able to make some content for YouTube and you still have this, paywall website. But, the fact is that people want the content. And if people want you to be as open and honest as you possibly can. You know, like on my own channel, sometimes people be like, you must talk about this. And like, well, I'm sorry, but like, I don't want my channel to be deleted. So unfortunately, there are certain things that you just cannot talk about, or you have to talk about something in a particular way. You know, we were talking about your code words. You guys use code words when you talk about certain things.
And pizza fence.
Yep.
You know, and this is like what we just had to do. We just created these things more on the spot.
We talk about, you know, this weird guy, Eric Seared Melon.
Yeah.
Seared melon.
I've gotten in trouble for him just in the last week. Yeah.
That's wrong, man. You should be able to. Why can't we talk? Like, what is going on here? Why can't we say a name? That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
it's because of it's the knowledge, the inherent knowledge with that name and everything that comes along with it. You know, knowing that name and knowing the chain of events that led to that individual doing what they did, and the ICIG changing the paperwork and the rules, and you know, it all goes right back up to this plot to remove President Trump from office. You know, it's pretty transparent, and I cannot wait for the IG report myself, because it's going to clearly illuminate everything that's been going on. You know, we just learned today that there was an FBI lawyer who is in trouble criminally for altering 302's information having to do with the FISA warrant for Carter Page. That's great news, you know, and it's you know, I don't know who leaked it, but something tells me that somebody in the alliance or Q team on President Trump's team is the one who leaked it, because it's certainly not good for the cabal, you know, the dark forces that are seeking to enslave all of us. So I think that was released on purpose, because it's like a lead up, drips leading up to the IG report, because once that comes out, I really do believe that is what is going to change a lot of hearts and minds. You know, we were told maybe 6% of the people out there will never believe that this took place. But I think that normal people who maybe just a couple of months ago were looking at the president and still saying, you know, he deserves to go to prison, he's a terrible person, you know, not paying attention, you know, oh, the economy is not doing, you know, they're just not into it. But now it's obvious. People know that the mainstream media is lying to us. People know that our government has been lying to us. They know that business is lying. They know that the banking industry is lying. The corruption is so vast and wide. It's seeped into every crevice that we can possibly imagine here on planet Earth. And it is a global conspiracy. AZ Finn says, Edge of Wonder like the edge of Antarctica. We won't go back there. Fred J, my 3 favorite guys in the same channel. Thank you very much for that, Fred. Al Bundy says, looking for something to chat about. You could ask Mac Benny and Robbie Mac how far along they are in their crisscross MAGA remix for Jump. All 3 of you rule. What? Are you guys putting together a crisscross cover?
I think he wants us to jump.
Oh, yeah.
We could do a crisscross cover. Yeah. Very funny.
That would be really funny. I might be able to Photoshop that.
Yeah, I can see it.
To be like 14-year-olds now, but hey, Red, I'm just kind of curious. I saw like Real Red Pill 78 Mom. Is that your mom?
That is my mom, and she's a big fan of you guys. Yeah, she's a big fan.
Mom. That's awesome.
Yes, one of my oldest viewers, both here and at home. Hi, Mom. Love you.
You're a great mother.
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
My mother is wonderful.
Too. That's
your mom watches?
A little bit. Yeah, she's been more quiet about it.
My mom watches too, and she'll be like, "That was weird." do you ever feel weird for talking about that stuff? And then she'll be like, "But I liked your episode on Trump."
That's good. That's good.
That's funny. So my dad is total opposite. I mean, when it comes to this whole politics thing, he's still not quite get it. He doesn't get it yet. So I'm working on it.
And my dad's interesting. He just watches everything, and he's just like, cool. Like he just gets it all. Like he'll watch anything, you know.
My dad's kind of like that, except for the Trump aspect. So anyway, it's kind of weird.
Such a divisive topic.
It is a divisive topic, but I love the president here on this channel. Red Pill Doc says, don't forget the movie Capricorn 1 with O.J. Simpson. Have you guys seen Capricorn 1? It's about faking the moon landing. I've seen it, so this is going back a little bit. And then Dana Finkler says, keep up the good work, brother. Where we bark one, we bark all. Dana coined the phrase, where we bark one, we bark all, because I have dogs that oftentimes show up on the broadcast. Let's see. And Fred J. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Michael Kenny. Seeing this red pill movement grow the way it is really makes me think that an actual civil war might not be needed after all. And in the way you guys are saving countless lives, thank you, and never stop 17. Thank you, Michael Kenny. I think he's right. I think that we've been looking for an enlightenment to hit mankind, to hit the world. And for me personally, I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought, everything's going to end. During the Obama years, I said, that's it. I'm just going to drop out of society. There's no hope. And then President Trump was elected, and I was reinvigorated. And, I see people waking up on a daily basis. My mom, God bless her, she was one of those lucky people who I red-pilled before I got the show. This is right after President Trump came into office. And it was the information on child trafficking, on human trafficking. And she had to admit, how would an evil man make this such a priority? When you look at every president that came before him, nobody ever highlighted it. Did you guys have like a particular red pill moment when it came to President Trump?
Well, because we were working at Epic Times during the whole election.
That's
years.
right.
We knew everything that was going on with the Clinton Foundation since like early 2000. Really
good. Yeah.
I mean,
we actually, as soon as he started running, we had intel that was like, this guy's going to do great things, and we were like, really?
But at the beginning we were just like, I can't believe it's coming down to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Then it just kind of kept going, like it kept kind of going on, and we were watching everything and then listening to the stuff that he was saying, and I was like,
this is pretty interesting stuff.
It's legit.
So but it was kind of interesting because the night before the election, because we had to lay out two different pages. So we laid out the page in case Hillary won and the page that Trump won. And as we were were you there? I can't remember if you were there that night. Okay, so we were all looking at it. And I just saw the Trump page because we did a really good job on the Trump page. And I was just like, Trump's going to win. Like, I just feel it.
And it's good because I had actually designed a lizard on the other front page. And I was like really worried about it, printing. So it worked out, actually.
That is great. That's so great.
So it was pretty cool. And I think what happened really was, because, it wasn't like I was all gung-ho on Trump. I think what happened was seeing how extreme the other media got made me really, I kept asking myself, why does the media hate him so much?
Why does everyone in power hate him?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what
this is
research.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was talking about. If you actually didn't watch the mainstream media and you just listened to the things that he said instead of listening to a talking head somewhere else, all of America would have a very different understanding of what was going on.
Yeah, it's so true.
He would say something and the mainstream media would be picking out these very strange excerpts that didn't even mean what he would say, what he said, and then they would blast it everywhere. Like the next morning there'd be 1,000 articles out. I'm not even kidding, 1,000 articles out about something that happened, like in the Japanese fish thing.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. CNN posted that. I couldn't believe it. So things like that, and so I didn't really listen to a lot of the mainstream media by that point anyway. I already knew, I actually had a friend who worked at CNN, and she was telling me all this crazy stuff at CNN. But anyway, so I was just only watching Trump's speech. I wasn't watching any media reports or anything else. I just wanted to hear what Trump was saying. So, by that point in time, coming up to the month before the election, I was just like, man, Trump is so awesome. I really hope he wins.
Who was your friend at CNN? Was she like Anderson Cooper?
I was going to say, you can't just waltz past that, Ben.
Okay.
I was waiting for that.
Let's talk about CNN.
She was at CNN during Obama's years, and she was in charge of or not in charge, but she was doing a lot of the marketing and advertising. That's like her department. And one morning she came into work and there was a memo, like just a sticky note on everyone's computer that said, "We want everyone to focus on the fires happening in California." So she was like, that's kind of weird, you know? So for like 24 hours straight, all they were doing was focusing on the wildfires. Meanwhile, they had, like, because she worked in the advertising department, they had this oil company as an ad. So as an like one of their clients. So it was really weird. Like all these things were going on and it was like, oh, we need to focus on this because this is our client. So she had a friend who lived in California in that exact area where the fires were. And so she called him and said, "How are these fires?" And he was like laughing. He's like, "Dude, I'm watching your guys' reports on CNN." He's like, "It's nothing like this. You're making it sound like it's Armageddon." And it's like, they have it completely under control. There's like a couple houses that got burned, but it's totally fine. He's like, I'm laughing about what you guys are doing, you know?
Well, that's par for the course.
Exactly. So she realized that they're blowing stories out of proportion specifically for advertising because they're a 24-hour news channel. So it's like they don't care so much about the content as long as they have eyeballs to see the advertising.
Ratings.
And that's where they get the money.
You know what I tell people when I want to explain the mainstream media to people, I ask them to watch that movie Running Man from the late 80s.
That's a great one.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Of course.
With Arnold?
Yeah.
The way the media does stuff in that movie is exactly how they do things now.
It was prophetic.
It's really good.
Yeah.
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 No, it totally was prophetic. You're totally right.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ryan McAdams, thank you for the super chat. Western Sunrise says, many of my coworkers here in liberal Seattle are open to the Great Awakening. Never thought it would be possible. That's really heartening. I like hearing that. Filled with Hope says, okay, peeps, love you all. How do we find you after December 10th when YouTube changes its policies if they start culling accounts? For me personally, I don't believe that my channel will be deleted. I feel safe. I have crafted the way that I talk about things. I'm as honest as I can be without being too provocative for their censors. It doesn't mean that they're not hitting me, but I do what I do. I think you guys do the same thing. So I don't think we're going to be deleted. But we've already established that these guys have already produced edgeofwonder.tv. So if it does happen, if the worst happens, you can go ahead and go there. And I just have to say, Jay Coulter, I've seen your comments, buddy. I don't give people my phone number. There will be a call-in section, or a call-in portion of the show here at 11 o'clock. So if anybody has anything they want to call and ask Ben and Rob or ask me, then you're welcome to do that. I just ask that everyone please be respectful when you get on the phone. Don't use up all the time. And definitely mute your stream when you get on because we'll have feedback otherwise.
That's fine.
Yeah. So what is your favorite show? Your favorite show you guys have ever done? Because you've done so many different
subjects. Our favorite show. Oh my gosh. Well, oh man. Holy cow.
You know what? I have to say for myself.
Yeah. What
okay. So my favorite show that we've produced for myself was in our Deep State series, the Saturn episode.
Oh, yeah.
So that one. And
That's
the
good.
Second episode of Communism that we did.
The Communism one was crazy.
That
whole series,
yes.
the Deep State series and the Communism series, that's kind of like, that's all of that was really
kind of brings it full circle. I mean, you have to understand the roots of communism to see how we are where we are today.
Exactly. And I think on the positive end, which kind of surprised me, one of my favorite episodes on the positive end was the Memory of Water episode.
That was cool.
I really was like blown away by everything that we found. And the missing children one, we were just, our minds were blown when we were really working on those, the 411 episodes.
Dave Paulides, he's great. I also had him on the show very recently, and that was kind of a fanboy moment for me, because I've known about his work for so long.
Oh, there you go.
Here we are. Yeah, you guys, I don't know if it was on my end or your end. Either way, no big deal. I was just saying, David Paulides, that was, kind of a fanboy moment for me. I mean, to be able to have him on, I really just love his work, respect the stuff that he's done, because it's a fascinating subject. I mean, you want to... I mean, you get into so many rabbit holes when you're looking at the evidence behind those cases. And it's kind of scary because I'm a hiker and a camper. I mean, I love to go out into remote areas and, frequently alone. So, I mean, the idea that you might not come back or just end up something happening, that's scary.
So many people contacted me after our Paulides interview, and they were like, I'm never going camping again. And I was like, man, what did we do? Because it's such a great thing to do. But then at the same time, it's like, it is good for people to realize what's happening out there. And just my response to them was like, look, just do what he said. He said to make sure you had both things, like both like a beacon
transponder,
beacon transponder and a gun, right? And he said it was a gun. He said he's never come across somebody who had both of those things that went missing. That's true.
Right. The old man with one eye, he went missing, but he had a gun and not a transponder. So
exactly.
Yeah. It's really weird. It really is.
So it's one of those things that, I mean, people expect to be safe when they go out into a remote area like that. There's no people, I'm not going to have to worry about running across anybody. And, people, if you guys ever been to Alaska, like Denali, it's a national park the size of Texas. Okay.
Jeez.
Just wilderness, straight wilderness. They take you on a bus from the ranger station through these like concentric rings, and you get further and further and further away from the entrance of the park. And, you're literally like hundreds of miles out you can go. It's very, very remote. And you have to bring bear spray when you go out there. Bear spray? Yeah, bear spray.
Is that the type of deodorant Alaskans use?
Yeah. Pepper spray. It's basically pepper spray in like a small like fire retardant thing. But it's the last thing you expect is for something other than like a bear attack to happen when you're out there. One thing I wanted to ask you guys is, what has it been like watching this, this Trump narrative taking hold through the mainstream media as New Yorkers? Okay, because it used to be that Donald Trump was universally loved. Maybe people thought, oh, he's a tough cookie, but it's Donald Trump. We love Donald Trump because we're from New York.
Yeah, it's kind of true. I mean, I think New Yorkers as a whole kind of had different views on him. But I mean, I think a lot of people just were like, yeah, it's Donald Trump. And then for some reason, once he's, wants to run for president, like everyone's freaking out. But, what's kind of interesting is that I was actually at the White House when I was working at the Epoch Times as a photographer for about 2 months. At the White House every day, hearing photographing Trump and all these different things. And this is coming into October of 2017. And what's interesting, I was there when Q made his first post, actually. But
nice.
What really bothered me was how the media responded to everything Trump would say. I remember very specifically because the Uranium One scandal was just kind of coming out during this time.
Yeah.
And he said to the media, he's like, you guys should report on the Uranium One. That's the real story. But you guys are fake news. You would never cover that. And I heard the CNN cameraman say right after that, he's like, who's he to tell us what we should report on and what we shouldn't?
Oh, the president, you mean?
And I'm like, so you report on stupid things on Twitter that he's reposting and you're blowing it out of proportion, but this Uranium One, which actually seems to have some legitimate stuff in, you refuse to report on it? It's like, what the heck? It's like, you guys, if you're media, you should be fair and balanced, right? You should just find both. You shouldn't control a narrative. It's just like, here's the facts, So that just really bothered me a lot. And it just really showed me that, okay, all the media has this agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, go on, please.
I was just going to say, there's no such thing as objectivity in the modern mainstream media.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Okay, so exactly, right? So in New York, I think before Trump started running, everyone was just like, whatever, Trump, he's a
Trump.
billionaire playboy, whatever,
Yeah.
But I think, what I think people don't understand across the entire world is that everyone, including you, including us, we're all brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been brainwashed. We're just at different levels of understandings within brainwashing that's happened to us since we were very, very young. And I think there are some people now that are stepping outside of that, the more and more and more, right? But in New York, you have a very liberal community, not quite as liberal as California, for instance. Staten Island is a lot more conservative. Long Island, you've got a mix of people. New York, yes, they're known for electing in a lot of Democrats and stuff like that. So yes, there's a lot of opinions against Trump. But what's really interesting is if you live in Manhattan and you walk around in Manhattan, there's a lot of things that Trump has done for the city in New York that would not be possible if it wasn't for him. And one great example of that is in Central Park. There's a huge ice rink there that Trump actually donated to Central Park. And it says Trump on the walls. And in the winter, it's just really fun, like going by there and seeing people having to skate in there. And it says Trump everywhere. And it's like, for me, it's just kind of like, just this like hat tip to the fact that this guy isn't just, what they think. And they're still going there to skate because they have to live life and all of this stuff, like it's literally the most filled skating rink in all of Manhattan. Arguably the only one that might be a little bit more full is the Rockefeller Center one, but the one in Central Park is bigger. So I don't mean to be long-winded.
No, you're fine.
The point is just that, it's just interesting living in Manhattan and kind of seeing these things around and how people experience them.
Yeah. You had mentioned the treatment of Trump by the mainstream media. That was really, for me, what clued me into the fact that he was a good guy. Because like I said, I'd kind of given up on politics when we were getting close to the 2016 election. Didn't know that much about Donald Trump, knew him as a celebrity. But I knew everything about Hillary Clinton that I needed to know that I wouldn't want to vote for her or have her be president. And, watching everyone in power just come after him universally, it was so obvious. Okay, that means I need to listen to what this guy has to say. And, seeing him on stage, watching him in front of a crowd, there is an electricity in the room. He can command a crowd like no one else. And, the thing you mentioned about his tweets, the mainstream media covering his tweets or whatever, he is a marketing genius, okay? He gets his message out there better than anyone, and it's because they cover his tweets and they try to belittle him. They put out, whatever, he screwed this up, and then he ends up getting it on the front page of every newspaper, on the 6 o'clock news every single day. When, on the other hand, they won't cover anything positive about him, but at the same time, he occupies their headspace. He is inside their mind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. CNN might have made Donald Trump because they put him on every single show for the entire 2016 election cycle.
They did.
Jeff Zucker, thank you.
Yeah, really, really. The other thing being in New York, and this is something you'll never hear the mainstream media talk about, a lot of the Wall Street people actually support Trump because they see what happened with Wall Street after Trump got elected.
Exactly.
So, and there's a lot of CEOs that we've even talked to, or that, I personally interacted with, people in business, and, who secretly all support Trump, but they would never say it publicly because they see what they know, they understand what's going on. They see their business, they see the tangible things, all of it, it all makes sense to them. And, they're in the same situation we are. It's like, well, I understand, I get it, but, unfortunately can't talk about it, which is so weird. Why do we feel weird openly talking about, like, positively about our own president?
That's right.
It's not China.
It's like modern day Anne Frank.
Yeah, and speaking of China, you were just talking about Trump. Actually, what people don't understand is that he's actually a strategical genius.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just saying that.
No, he is.
He in every single move that he makes, he is literally controlling the narrative, and they have nothing on him.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is, previous to everything going on, Ben and I, our background has to do a lot with research about China, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of contacts that we have very good information about China, right? Apparently, with President Trump, they're really afraid of him because they think he's a strategical genius.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
for
it.
the first time in literally like years and years and years and years, they're actually like side-eyeing the president, because they're like, and you have to understand, China has played everyone. China's putting chips in everyone's phones. China's it's the factory of the world, right?
In the
Right.
deep state, I mean, Obama, Clinton's, they completely sold out
They're
to
siphoning
China.
money.
Yeah, and so basically, China had our own presidents in their back pocket. I mean, before Obama became president, and I really supported Obama because he was talking about China and how all our business is in China and that we need to bring our factories back to the U.S.
No, he
And
says that.
He said that. He said all of it. He gets elected, and then not a single word on China.
It's
He's like, well, we gotta work together with China and separate our differences and come together and create a good country and whatever, blah blah blah. And I'm like, what the heck? This is not what you said before you were president. And Trump, said really harsh things about China. Like, we need to get our factories back. He becomes president, and he's like, okay, this is what we're going to do because this is what I said. And I'm like, he's the only president that, since we've been alive,
dude, look at what's happened. I mean, North Korea is neutralized, right? He's
ISIS is done.
Yeah.
Bombed the leader of it. I mean, it's pretty much, we haven't heard much about ISIS.
Promises made, promises kept. It just keeps coming true. It's the prophecy of the Trump era. It's true.
Yeah, and China cannot buy out Trump, and this is why Xi Jinping and everyone fears Trump, because they know he won't play their game.
He's just kicked everyone in the nuts ever since he was young, with any business interaction, and he just continues to do that. They don't have anything.
He is seriously kicking with the balls in the ball.
He is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a true patriot. Every decision that he's making is based on what's good for America and for her citizens. It's every other politician before that has been what is good for me, my own personal financial situation. Very short-sighted. Doesn't matter what happens as long as I get rich by the time I'm done with my term. President Trump, it doesn't care. This is another thing that I loved about him. He did not need to do this. He put himself in this position to lose money, to lose favor, to lose all of the fame that he's built up over time.
He is the number one, most, what I want to say, most likely to be killed. He's number one. He's got more death threats than probably anybody in the history of America right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets himself paid $1 a year.
Exactly.
His salary is $1 a year. You don't hear about any of these things from anyone.
No.
Everyone just says trash about him. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, if the media were fair and balanced, we probably wouldn't be as animate about supporting him as we are. It's just that, my gosh,
look, and this is the thing, is this isn't about supporting a person or whatever. This is about supporting the truth.
Yes.
Where's the truth right now? I mean, there's your answer.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you look what he's doing, he's fighting against communism. He's really bringing back traditional values, religious aspects.
So many human traffickers have gotten arrested in his presidency. I mean, it is actually ridiculous,
Well, the interesting thing we covered on our last live is that Reuters had an article stating that there was more children being locked up or imprisoned than any time in history, basically, or recorded history or something like that. Well, they retracted this article, and they're like, we're not going to put up any update on this article. We just pulled the article because we had the data wrong. The data was 2015. Now, who was president in 2015?
Exactly. Yeah.
So they basically So this is kind of interesting. So either somebody did this on purpose to get disinformation out there. It's like, well, we'll put this out there, then we'll retract it later, and we'll confuse people about it. This was done by a white hat, or somebody who was just stupid and made a mistake. So
I tend to think that it's not just somebody being stupid, because that goes along with the picture of the children in cages, okay? Taken from some type of demonstration or something like that, or it's a picture clearly from the Obama administration. And they put it out and they pretend like it is Trump's fault. Real quick, Son of a Green Card says, I don't take out the trash without a gun. Hashtag Alaska. Glad for that. Let's see. Michael Kenny says, what was it that began the red pill process for these guys? For me, it was around 10:30 a.m. on September 11th, 2001. How about you guys?
Man, red pill process?
Yeah. Well, I mean, was there a moment, or did you just, came to it?
Yeah. Well, just for me, this is going to sound crazy, but I actually started red pilling when I was about 12 or 13, when I read the Tao Te Ching, and it actually blew my mind apart so much that when I was like 16 or 17, and we're talking about 24 years ago now. I mean, well, not 20, you know what I mean. Anyway, so the point is, I was like really searching for the truth. And then when I got into my early 20s, I remember just early 20s red pilling super hard and taking myself out of all of these unhealthy situations that I was in. All my friends turned against me. My family thought I was crazy, all this stuff. And then it just took this long process for me to kind of like level out and become normal again, because I had just kind of like realized how manufactured this world was, like how I felt like I had been lied to my entire life. Like my entire personality was made up of all of these things I had watched on TV or something. Like that's who I was. And I needed to take myself out of that and like heal, I guess you could say. And that all happened in my early 20s. And then I've just, actually I was doing so many human rights things in my 20s for stuff going on in China. And, it just was like a big wake up call about communism and all of these things, and digging deep into all of that. And it just, just led to where we are today. Mm-hmm.
For me, I've had a very unusual life, because I just known kind of as a little kid, a lot of this stuff. I just remember being a little kid, being really against communism and being really against the Vatican. And I don't know where that came from. And like the first books I got out of the library was about the Bermuda Triangle and the lost city of Atlantis. And I remember even thinking to myself especially coming into the 90s, that I was like, I don't know. I just knew I was going to do something that the government wasn't going to like. And I was just I was against the government. That was the third thing. It was government, communism, and the Vatican.
Yeah, his mom was like, honey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he was like, Black Ops, mommy.
Well, what's funny? I remember it was in the 80s actually, and I was talking to my parents about like the Bible and everything else, and I just looked at him and I said, yeah, this is the end times. Like, we're in Armageddon. And my mom's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, because I'm here. I was like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't Armageddon.
Oh my gosh.
The end time. Like in my head, it just made perfect sense. So, it was weird. I had these like kind of spiritual experiences that kind of brought me there. But coming into my later teens, I just doubted everything. I just thought, I looked at the world and I got really depressed, and I was just like, yeah, no, nothing exists. I was just a crazy kid. Who knows what I was thinking? But then as I got older, then I really started all of this stuff started really coming back together, and I started having some small experiences that led me to believe that there is for sure. And it's not a belief. It was like, I just knew that there is like a divine creator, that God really truly exists. And then at that point, I started asking, okay, I know that you're real. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? I know I'm here to help people. How am I exactly supposed to help people? And like, show me this. And so it was a long process during the next 8 years of figuring that out, what it is that I was supposed to be doing. and all these different experiences that I had along the way. So that's kind of like, oh, and then when 2001, when the World Trade Towers, when I was watching that live on TV, that was also when I knew, okay, this, like, I just knew Bush was messed up anyway. So I even thought at that time, well, at first I was like, okay, what's going on? And then, you know, when I heard about what's happening, I'm like, wait a minute, this is like too fast. Like, I believe something's wrong with Cheney and all these different things. And I really started thinking at that moment that I was like, yeah, you know, I think our own government did this. And so then I started doing all the research coming into David Icke in the beginning, and then even following David Wilcock a little bit, and just kind of reading all this stuff. And so I was really into this stuff, you know, coming into the 2000s. So,
you know, I actually saw the Donald Rumsfeld press conference on September 10th. And then when that happened the next day, I was like, okay, something is definitely not right. Richard Everett says, does anybody get the gut feeling that the current political shows that we are enduring is a distraction to things like the grand solar minimum, diminishing and shifting magnetic fields, and the global food shortages? I think that there are a lot of distractions out there for us, but I don't think that those things necessarily specifically. I just think that the mainstream media has no desire to push those things, and so that's why we don't hear about it. Science is not an exact science. What do you guys think?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the other thing is, too, if it doesn't fit the mainstream media's agenda, they will not talk about it, period.
Well, I think there's something else important about this conversation. You know, I do think that the water and food are really important things.
Yes.
But when we're talking about what's actually happening right now, if I had a bird's eye view of everything, is it more important to take down a cabal that's literally poisoning the entire world, that's been controlling us since we were
thousands of years?
Thousands of years. Yeah. Is it important to neutralize that and get people into a place where they can actually live normal lives as normal people? Or is it like, I mean, the food actually isn't even going to matter at that point if that's not taken care of. So I think there's, first of all, the mainstream media isn't going to talk about any of that real stuff. But when it comes to the current administration and what they're focused on, I mean, we're talking about kids, little kids being sold, that they're being raped, murdered, these things, satanic ritual abuse.
How dare you, though? You know, that's the focus.
Yeah.
Is the climate change. It's like, oh, climate change. But it's like, wait a minute.
People are myopic, you know, like they get focused on one thing. And what you just said is totally accurate. Take care of the cabal and everything else gets sorted out, because they are the tip of the pyramid. Michael Kenny says, press 17 if RP should bring back the duck bottle. Thank you for that, Michael. Tanette Booth says, just wanted to say hi to Ben and Rob. Big fan. Thank you, Tanette. Big Hair Tsunami says, Rob and Ben are my bros. The Kate Awakening is my bra, but not in an apparel way. Edge of Wonder covers every mind-opening experience. No one working harder, and with pure honesty, I would take a Nerf bullet for them. Well, thank you very much for that. Big Hair Tsunami.
He's cool. He donates to our channel a lot, so that's
good
awesome.
Stuff. Well, I appreciate the generosity. Richard Everett says, I'm 59. As a kid, Sunday morning, we would go see the weather, crop reports, and weekly news wrap-ups. Today, we need space weather, truth in agriculture, and all the good things you guys already do. Thank you for that. You know, I mean, my desire is to be the antidote for the mainstream media and to be here to replace it when they are inevitably toppled down. Let's talk about that here in a minute, but I just want to put the link for the Zoom call into the chat box, you guys. Keep in mind, if you call in using the app, you are going to be able to set your name, but it might show up on my screen. If you call in with the phone number, you guys, unless you dial *67, it will show your phone number on screen. So don't call in without *67. Oh, and we've already got somebody on there. Liberty Thunder. You're on the air with Rob and Ben from Edge of Wonder. How can we help?
This is cool. We got to do this.
I think, Liberty Thunder, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, buddy. How are you?
Hey, good, guys. Hey, Edge of Wonder. I love your show. I subscribe to you. I do have a question. I noticed your shirts, and
Sure.
and also I want to know later where's your Nerf guns. But anyway,
You're forgetting them.
yeah. Now concerning the shirts, I'm not really sure what a picture of that is, but I know that you have Corey Good on your show sometimes or whatever, and I really enjoy the secret space program topic.
It's a good one.
But when it comes to Corey Good's version, man, I get really thrown off by the big blue bird thing, you know.
The avians.
And I was wondering about what your view of that was. I mean, do you also think that maybe the big blue birds are giving Corey Good secrets? And
Well, here's one thing to look from another perspective real quick. You know, why is it that a lot of people can believe in these giant lizards but have a hard time believing in giant birds? So that's one perspective. But did you want to say something? And I'll
Well, no, I mean, honestly, I this in terms of Corey Good himself, I really think that my position on this is I really think people deserve the airspace to talk about the things that they've experienced if they're an experiencer. Ben and I go through a lot of trouble to vet people before we allow them on the show. We won't allow them on the show if we feel like they're lying, they're being deceitful, their story isn't coinciding with other things. I think the blue avian thing it's just gotten blown out of proportion. People are accusing him of starting a cult. Like anytime people start using this word cult to attack people, immediately I'm like, they have to be like planned op or something like that. Because you don't just accuse people of starting a cult. Like, what cult? He's just giving information. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen. Like, the whole point with even these t-shirts for me aren't really like, I believe in blue avians. It's not that. It's like, I actually really believe in freedom of speech.
There you go.
To the extent where I get behind what he's trying to do. He's trying to tell his story that he experienced with these secret space programs. And I do think he should be allowed to talk about those things. And if people don't find some of it hard to believe or whatever, I'm okay with that.
Well, no, listen, I totally agree with what you're saying about the First Amendment stuff. I think everybody should have a chance to be heard, you know, from what Corey Good is saying versus the opposite end about what Corey Good's, opposition is saying as well.
I mean,
but my question is what do you think? What are your thoughts about?
We've really dived into all of this. You know, I mean, we had numerous conversations with Corey. Corey and I just been in a room alone talking for a really long time, and he's telling me this stuff like how you would just tell me about how your day was at your job, you know. And I think what's also interesting is that I've really encountered a lot of people who had blue avian experiences and didn't really understand what was going on. And when Corey came out, this is partly why Corey has a lot of following. I've been to one of the first talks that I saw with Corey, and he asked people in the audience, how many people have seen blue spheres or encountered with a blue avian? And like 75% of the people in this room raised their hand, including myself, because I have had my own experiences with this, especially with the blue sphere. I was meditating, and one of them came in my room as I was meditating, and I thought it was my phone at first, but then I realized my phone was behind me, and it really hit me what it was. So for me, you know, it's like we have, you know, just because it kind of sounds unbelievable, but when you really truly ask other people, why do you follow Corey Good? A lot of them will tell you, because I've had a very similar experience. I had blue avians appear in my dreams before I even knew who Corey Good was. And it's like, here's this guy talking about it, and it just made sense. It's like, oh my gosh, for the first time ever, I now know what this was that came to me. And, you know, so I think a lot of this stuff, you know, it's a balance. And on the other end, he's getting, you know, there was this whole doxing thing that happened, and we really looked into it. We saw what was actually happening. We decided not to talk about it on the show because we didn't want to seem like we were falsifying any information because the FBI were involved by
Wait,
that point.
are you guys saying somebody tried to dox you, or someone tried to dox Corey Good?
So somebody doxed this person who was working with he was a federal employee, and everyone was saying it was Corey Good. And what ended up happening was this other channel, which I don't even want to mention.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Such a dork. It turned out this guy was responsible for the doxing and blamed it on Corey.
That's so sleazy.
All of this stuff came out. And like I said, the FBI is doing a full investigation. The people involved are being sued. The main guy lost his license for practicing law now.
Oh, wow.
Because he lied about everything. And he started making up rumors about us, making up stuff about us. And at that point, we knew right away that we couldn't trust him, because and there was other people that, in the beginning, we were watching both sides of this. But as soon as we brought on Corey and this side all started attacking us and making up lies, we're like, holy cow. Like this proves to us that Corey is telling the truth. If we're trying to be in the middle and all of a sudden we're being attacked by the same people that are attacking Corey, we haven't even said anything.
Yeah, we don't
the
even know
truth will out.
So that was really, what started connecting us with Corey even more.
Here's just another part of this. This is like very similar to a lot of these things people get distracted to, or distracted by, like the flat earth theory or whatever. If God came down here right now and he was like, yo, Rob, blue avians exist, I'd be like, whatever you say, God, sure, right? I'm open to it. I've never met one. I've never seen one, right? I have reasons to believe what Corey is saying. And if you don't like what Corey's saying, he's not asking you to watch him either. He's just trying to get his information out there. I think again, that argument isn't really that important. Like when you talk to Corey about his stance on QAnon, on his stance on human trafficking, that guy is on point. He will message us during the day and be like, this is going on in human trafficking. Try to expose this stuff, whatever. Like we try to work together to share information just so that we can kind of be on top of things,
But we never it's not like, I mean, because there's these rumors out there.
Oh, he controls our show or something?
It's complete nonsense at all. It's just a matter of sharing content, and that's really,
no, exactly. We're like in a chat room together and we just share whatever intel we have to try to help fill out our understanding. Sometimes we send him stuff he hasn't seen before and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think I always thought that if Corey Good, he would make a great, fantastic sci-fi writer if what he's saying isn't true. Because I mean, I was like, this stuff, you get really wrapped up into it.
It's entertaining either way you look at it. I'm Liberty Thunder. I'm sorry, buddy. We've got so many people waiting, and we've been talking about Corey for a while. So thank you for your call. I appreciate you calling in, buddy. We've got Alexandria, Occasional Cortex up next. Alexandria, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
How are you? I just want to make sure. Alexandria, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Oh, perfect. What's
your question for Ben and Rob?
Oh, well, you cover big fan of all y'all, but I had this experience. We were talking about moon before, but I was working with Dr. Edgar Mitchell, Apollo 14 astronaut, for a couple weeks. And the moon subject came up. He always got really upset about the, flat earthers topic too, and the fact, although he alluded that, of course, they shot a lot of things to have a cover story, so they couldn't show people what was on the moon. But he did tell me face to face while he was alive, rest in peace, but that he saw the dark side of the moon. He saw bases up there on the dark side of the moon on the Apollo 14.
Very cool.
Mission. So I don't know. It was going around the chat earlier. I figured I'd drop that one because
so there's other insiders that have approached us, but they do not want to be public. They're contractors for various, CIA, NSA, different things going on. And it's interesting because one of them actually specifically asked us about Corey too. He's like, what do you guys think about Corey? And then turns out that he also confirmed. He's like, yeah, there's bases on the moon. He's like, cannot talk about that publicly and do not say my name. But he's
Neither
like,
confirm nor deny.
Yeah,
it's like,
well, speaking of that, like unbeknownst to me, shortly after, and the topic I was working on was a UFO related topic, and I had no interest in it. But a week later, I found myself literally having a clown dox me in a Washington Post article about UFOs.
Wow.
And so, and you know, I think that topic is a hot topic for a lot of reasons.
it is.
I would say so.
And it's certainly at this event that I was working with Edgar Mitchell in, there was certainly a lot of interest. There was everybody from Louis Farrakhan to you know, KGB dudes. So anyway,
all right, Alexandria,
I'll get going.
Thank you for your call. We'll talk to you next week. Okay.
Now.
All right.
Ciao for now.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Ken Johnson, he's a former, he used to work at NASA, and he's the one who has a lot of like books full of the undoctored moon photos and stuff.
Wow.
With faces on it and everything.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Really cool.
All right, next up we've got Tony. Tony, are you there?
How did you know you were supposed to say my name 3 times?
Because it's a musical group.
Oh, okay. We may be from the same age group then.
Yeah. What's your question for Ben and Rob?
Well, thank you so much, Red Pill, for having Ben and Rob. Hey, you guys, you're like my bros. I mean, really, the way that you come across to people, I think everybody on here, even Red Pill, we feel like your family. I just want to express my gratitude for
Thank
everything
you so much.
you've done. I don't think that people realize how much you do in the background to put out your shows. And I do, and I appreciate that. And so I just wanted to make you aware that I may or may not have sent you guys an email a week or so ago with the subject line, maybe saying something about dimples.
That's you. I've been busting Ben's. I've been busting on him on that for a while now.
I know. I have never forgotten. I don't know. This is a month or 2 ago, but anyway, please look for that.
Okay.
My email address. Do a search or email me back because you have been hitting on a subject over and over and over and over again that I have a solution for. You have to do that. So my email address, anybody else that's listening, I'll take your emails. TillisTony@gmail.com. TILLIS, like mail. TillisTony@gmail.com. Look for that. Get back with me like right away. This is very time sensitive. You open it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I feel like I was red pilled as a child because with all the fights that I heard people having in politics, I'm like, there's something that's not true. How do you know what's true? So when this movement came out, and you guys plus others have been connecting the dots, I'm like, I knew it. But you were doing the research. And so for me and other people, my gratitude is, I cannot tell you how big it is. So I really do.
Thank you.
Now, the second thing is, and I'm about to wrap this up so you can move on to other callers.
Thank you, Tony.
I'm looking for a resource. I have gone out and spoken to churches and colleges and sorority groups, haven't made it into the fraternities, but about sex trafficking, the awareness of that, how to identify it, how not to become a victim of that, because 1%, I did find 3% out there. I can't find the resource now, but let's just say, if you're a victim of sex trafficking, most likely you'll never make it out of that. Okay. That's just statistics. So I'm like, I don't want to have to, I was raising money for safe houses. That's why I was going out and speaking. I was like, this is what we're doing, but I don't want to have to put you in a safe house. So here are all the signs, right? And I would come back, I would have all the same questions asked back to me. And I'm like, I've got to make this in an educational format. So you will see me coming out with a YouTube channel. I've been working on it. It'll probably come out next week or the week after. I don't know. What I'm going to do is videos on YouTube of awareness and how to protect yourself from a parental aspect and how to teach your children some practical tips that they can take with them for a lifetime. But why I'm even telling you that is I don't even have a name of a show to promote, so I'm not using your show, Red Pill, to promote that. But
I don't mind. You can when you do.
Okay, well, I'll let you know when it's ready. We're
Awesome.
in contact. So, but what I'm looking for is, okay, I'll have the safety covered. If you're practicing these safety things in your family, you're learning how to think for yourself. You're learning how to check your surroundings. You know what to do at the appropriate time. I've got that covered, but what's not covered and what I have not seen, unless I just don't know who it is who is teaching these kids. Like, they go to school, they're indoctrinated with these socialistic ideals, and they don't even know it.
Mm. Yep, it's very true.
They don't even know it. I am like a pro homeschooler. If I had a child at home right now, there's no way they'd be in public school right now. Just that's me. Think for yourself, make your own decision. Mm. But what I see, Ben and Rob, what you have done is there are so many shows that you have done that would help them understand this is socialism. This is communism. This is the true history. This is where it started. But who is it in, if I had children at home, that's what I'd have them watch. But who is it that you know of? Is there anyone that has started any kind of educational .tv or for children to educate them?
So it's really interesting that you brought this up.
I saw you looking at each other.
Yeah, because we're actually in the process right now of developing EOW Kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're creating a channel on edgeofwonder.tv specifically for children to educate them on things that they're not getting in school. And
we don't want to say too much right now because it's still
just don't give it away. You guys
don't want to give anything away.
What are we giving away? Who's going to actually go through the trouble of doing that?
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. The point is like we're really concerned about it, and we're trying to do what we can with the resources that we have to start it as soon as possible.
And it'll be lighter, and you'll kind of go through like it's like, here's what you're learning in school, but here's what you're not learning in school, and keep it really fun. And we'll definitely won't get into the deep.
We're actually, we're not going to really tell them, here's what you're not learning at school or anything like that. We're just going to have very concerned parents and people with children to create content for them that will help them understand history the right way.
And
it's a brilliant idea.
But it's
all of that stuff.
But really, we have a lot of big ideas, like really, really big ideas. Like, I really want to make this into partly a cartoon show as well. And there's really some good ideas that we have. And so, we'll see how it kind of unfolds and where it goes. But like I said, we're in the very beginning development stages of this. And this is going to be something that's going to cost a little bit to produce, more so than our other stuff, because of what we want to do with it and more people involved. But yeah, we're 100%.
We're trying as hard as we can to do it as fast as we can
with the limited amount of resources that we have.
Well, you know what? God's going to bless it. It's needed. It's definitely needed. Red Pill, I sent you an article the other day about Austin.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if I was in Austin or anywhere like that, I'd be ripping my kid out of school that very day.
Yeah, it infuriated me.
It's needed. Our kids, they don't even know real history anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Tony.
Anyway, I'll let you go.
Thank you for calling, hon. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. We've got phone number 9769. Then we've got Aaron. Then we've got phone number 5810. Phone number 9769. Are you there?
Oh, yeah, that's me. What's up, man? This is Jay Coulter.
Hey, there you are, Jay. How you doing, bud?
It's great, man. How are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for calling. Did you have a question for Ben and Rob, or did you have a special announcement for us?
Yes, I'm running for president in 2024. Unfortunately, I can't describe all of my sources and connections, but it's already been put out there to Kanye. He's welcome to run on my ticket.
There you go.
He laughed at it. Anyway, I know more. I'm just going to say this. I know more about international business and affairs than most people who will be running. In fact, I can guarantee that everybody who will be running in 2024, I know more about international business and affairs. As a consultant, international consultant, I'm not going to get into too much about what I do. Here's what's important. I'm not afraid to die for my country. My spiritual fitness is on point. In fact, I'd almost wish that they would try to take me down. I feel for Donald Trump because I know what he's going through. They just made an attempt on his life this past weekend, and that's only what we know of. Most of my talking points will be, regarding the usual conservative stuff, security, national security, I should say, immigration, education reform, economic growth, while allowing citizens to understand that even if they have student debt upon which they cannot default, they can do something. It's not just getting a job from someone else. So you guys are the first to know. I'm running. You can remember my name. It's Jay Coulter. It's a little late at night, but if you guys have any questions for me, the only question I would have for you, Red Pill, would be regarding Q and some of the statements that our president has made in his rallies lately regarding the 9, 13, 17 years, or the now we have a forum.
Yes.
Or the baby even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just all of them, just individual proofs. I mean, Trump consistently will, bring 17 up when it's not necessary. The Q baby, obviously, that was one of my favorite ones. When he mentioned a forum, I clearly thought that he was referring to, 8kun, formerly 8chan. Because,
Right.
that's exactly what it is. It's a free speech forum. It's a place for us to be able to speak our minds and not have to worry about being censored like we are on, so many other platforms.
Right, and those of us in the know, it just seems so blatant. But everybody else wants to label it a conspiracy. But
Right.
I understand why he's trying to do it. He just had an attempt on his life. But I'm not afraid of that. And, I'll tell you this. 14 years ago, when I was in college, I realized the best candidate will never be eligible to be elected. It's not possible. Because I always wanted to be president, but I figured, that's just not possible. But you know what? The best person for the job is usually not up for the job. And we finally got someone in our current president. And I'm trying to follow in those footsteps. That's what I'm going to do.
100.
And I may not be the best person for the job, but I'll be the best candidate.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, Jay,
here first, Jay Coulter 2024.
do you have a website, Jay?
No, none of that yet.
All right.
This is the first place I've announced it to anyone, but it'll be up there and you'll see it.
All right. Well, I'll be looking for it. Thank you for calling in, Jay, and I wish you much luck. I'm sure I'll see you again.
Last thing. Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where I'm from. I'm easily found. Tulsa, Oklahoma. 918.
All right. Excellent.
Good luck, man.
Thanks for calling.
Y'all stay safe. Keep up the hard work.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
We'll talk to you soon. All right. Coming up next is my good friend, Aaron. Aaron, longtime viewer
Hello.
and frequent caller to the program. How are you, friend?
Hello, Red Pill. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. Are you enjoying the show tonight? Did you have something for Ben and Rob?
I love the show. Ben and Rob, you guys rock.
Thanks, man.
Gotta tell you, you guys are brave because back before the turn of the century, I had a cable access show out here in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin.
Cool.
It was called the UFO Show. It was a live call-in show on cable access. And people were coming from all other towns to come and see the show and to call in with their accounts. After our third show aired, the chief of police called me up and threatened me at the top of his lungs. You stop your show or I'm going to throw you in jail and throw away the key. No one will ever know where you are.
Whoa.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And I lived 2 blocks from the cop station.
Oh.
I'm like, I didn't sleep for a week.
I bet.
And that chief of police passed away or went back to his home planet. And so when I found out about Blog Talk Radio, I started a Blog Talk Radio show, Aaron's UFO show on Blog Talk Radio, and I did a lot of shows. And I was seeking the truth. I was like, you guys, I want to ask the questions I want to ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had the one guy I really would have wanted to do a show about, and I'm going to do a show about still, is William Tompkins.
Oh,
yeah.
Good one.
He
Good one.
is like a hero.
Yeah.
And he's not a crackpot. He's the guy that actually got us to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
He designed the computer checkout system that all 30,000 subcontractors had to make their stuff go through to make sure it would work. I mean, he's
totally. The other side is like even afraid to bring him up because the guy is so credible. I mean, the dude on his deathbed was saying everything that is going on. It's like, I mean, that's just really what blows my mind. It's like, if this guy's dying, why is he saying everything that is really going, like, all the stuff, the secret space program, all these different things, this to me made him even more credible. The fact that he was, even at the end, still wanting to say everything that he experienced.
Yes.
I have something to add to that. When he passed away, he was talking also about 3 pills that he was working very closely with these projects. You take these 3 pills over a matter of months and you regress back, the male regresses back to the age 29 and the female regresses back to the age 21. Maybe they said, okay, Mr. Tompkins, we're going to let you use the pills, but we're going to say you're dead, but you're going to keep working with us as
it's a great cover.
Possibility.
I never even thought about that.
Very possible.
Crossing everything is crossable.
I hope so.
That's pretty interesting.
Because he was an awesome dude.
So you guys rock, and also Andrew Bazzaggio, have him on your show.
So, dude, I just yesterday, a neutral contact got us connected. He's really excited coming on. He's kind of he's going through some stuff at the moment, so we probably won't have him on until the beginning of the year because also we're really busy. But I have his phone number. They were like, dude, call him as soon as you can. So I was going to actually call him next week. He's one of the very first people that we really wanted to have on the show.
Yeah,
research.
That would be a fascinating show.
Yeah. Especially with Q mentioning Project Looking Glass, we were like, wow, he's got a really awesome story, and we're really excited to have him on. So that's going to be fun.
Good stuff.
I think get Bernie Mendez with him too, because Bernie Mendez was in the projects with him.
Okay, I actually know who that is. So we'll see what we can do. So
you guys rock. Keep it up.
Aaron, thanks for calling, buddy.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye. All right, coming up next is caller with the phone number ending 5810. Caller, are you there?
Hi there, gentlemen. How are you tonight? This is Elizabeth Coles from Southern California.
Hello,
All
Elizabeth.
right, thanks for calling.
First, let me just say the 3 of you young men, I would be so proud to call you son. Red Pill, I have not met you, but I have briefly met Ben and Rob. They wouldn't recognize me, but I attended Dimensions of Disclosure, and that was an awesome experience. The spirit was heavy there. What would you say, Ben and Rob, about the spirit?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
it was great.
Everyone was awesome. It was such a high energy. The whole weekend, it was just amazing. We met some most amazing people so far of any conference has been at that one. So it's incredible.
It was off the hook, wasn't it?
It totally was.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I wanted to make a few statements. I'm a little nervous because I'm a private person. I usually don't like to discuss these things, but weird and paranormal, I guess I should say, is kind of the middle name for my entire family.
Right.
So,
Welcome to my world.
so yeah, it's like, that's my world I live in. So it's like, thank you. I've got some place I can talk about this and not feel like I'm being looked at like I'm crazy. You know the feeling, you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But first in Corey Good's defense, let me say that the blue steers have been known to visit my family for a long time. I'm just going to leave that there because that's a long story. And then one big red pill moment for me was I was I was watching that episode a couple years ago where Greer and Smith did the biopsy on the little mummy, the itty bitty one.
Oh, yes,
that guy?
at Stanford. The Atacama humanoid.
Yeah, the Atacama.
Yes,
That's it.
the Atacama. I cannot say that right. But the Atacama humanoid, I'm not kidding you, I fell off of my bed because those little dudes used to come see me at night up until the age of 8 years old.
Wow.
Up until the age of 8. Yeah, so I'm like, holy moly. You know, it's like you thinking this is a kid's fantasy, but when I saw them, I'm like, I was like a drop dead moment for me.
Very cool. That's
That's
cool.
crazy.
Yeah, it was a drop dead moment.
Awesome.
And then I would like to say I want to say thank you for the work that you guys are bringing forth about, and I'm going to try not to get emotional about this, guys, but about satanic ritualistic abuse. I don't really know any way to do this other than outing my kids, but they're all adults now. But 2 of my children, I have 5 children, 2 are biological, 3 are adopted. 2 of my adopted children were raised in a satanic ritualistic abuse.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I can really feel that.
Yeah. So thank you. So this really hits home. One of them is in his middle 20s, is ready to come forth about the experiences, but another sibling of his that I adopted is not. So I have to honor that and kind of hold back. And I'm hoping that they'll get to the point where they can bring forward the movement quickly so people will be red-pilled and understanding this stuff is real. Very, very real.
Absolutely.
And
You know, so this is one of the things that so many, we probably have gotten more messages and emails and comments over this than anything that we've done. And we were shocked by how many people really this has been affecting in our society. And again, they just have no place to go to.
When we were at Dimensions of Disclosure, we had multiple people, not a couple, like multiple people coming up to us with tears in their eyes about satanic ritual abuse. And this is something that's...
Everyone just thanking us for exposing you.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not telling us their story because I want to be on your channel. They don't even want to be public. They're just like...
Right.
It's a catharsis.
Just like, yeah.
But this is something that's extremely important to Ben and I. Not only exposing it, but also being a home for people that have these experiences, that if they want to come on and talk about those, that they're welcome. So if your adopted son or daughter wants a place to talk about these things, they're welcome to reach out to us, and we can try to figure out getting them on the show to try to expose this.
I'll do my best. My son, he's actually been in the tunnels under Southern California.
Oh wow!
So I'm concerned about it because the tunnels. He was going through a lot of things, going through some soul searching, and he had the tunnels actually tattooed on his body. And so I told him, I said, son, you've got to get those removed. It just makes you a walking target.
Wow.
Because his body is literally a map of the tunnels.
That's insane. Holy
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, man, yeah, I can really, you know, I'm feel things pretty well. Like when people talk about things, like both him and I are really pretty good judgment on people when people are lying. For me, when someone's telling the truth about these things, my whole body gets very tingly and I just start getting chills, and I can feel it, in my heart. And definitely what you're saying, like I was already feeling that when you first started talking. So I was like, wow, you have something you're going to say that's going to be powerful. So
you're an empath, man.
Yeah, it makes me sick, and it makes me sick to have to even wake people up this hard. It does, because
they don't
these people are they're beyond evil. Evil is even a light word to discuss.
Yeah.
People are. Yeah,
absolutely. People are brainwashed.
Maybe when we're ready. Maybe when we're ready, Ben and Rob. We're not quite there yet.
No problem, and no pressure. Yeah. Just know that you have people that want to help you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I mean, if anything, we can also connect them with some other people who, who are helping others through the process. So, let us know.
All right. I am so sorry. We've got another couple people, and we're almost out of time. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, if you need to get a hold of me, I'm trippyhippie_1.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Have a great night. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Appreciate your honesty.
Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
No problem. Bye-bye.
All right. And coming up next is the phone number ending in 3872. Can we get your name? You're on the air with Ben and Rob.
Hi, guys. This is Marina.
Hi,
Marina.
Hey, Marina. Listen, you guys me more than anybody else. Your shows have blown my mind. They're awesome. I'm so happy to speak to you guys, and thank you for all the work all three of you guys are doing. So I called you guys the Three Musketeers tonight because
that's awesome.
Appreciate
heroes,
Thank you.
But what I was calling you about was, I don't know if you've seen the latest video that Jennifer Mack made about JFK Jr. being in the crowd with Trump and him pointing to him. And,
not yet.
Oh man, this guy looks like him so much.
Interesting. Haven't seen it.
For the chin. But they were saying how he goes out with him all the time in different disguises. He's got, like that Vincent Fuchsia. They showed him like on the day he walked down the parade with Melania and that beautiful blue outfit she had on. He was the bald makeup or bald security. It was pretty cool. So anyways, I just wanted to get what you guys thought on JFK. Do you think he's still around, or what do you think?
I'm very open to it, but JFK Jr. is like Bigfoot to me. It's like you really want him to be like, I'm really rooting for him to be alive.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Q has said that he's not. There's been multiple, but that could just be because attention needs to be brought away from that whole thing. I think, look, nothing would excite me more than him showing up someday and being like, this is what happened to me. But I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, regardless of whether he comes to the public or not, or whether he can, or whether he is alive or not. And
I mean, I just think, I wouldn't be that surprised, I'll say that, if he does come out. But, it's one of those things, like Rob said, it's awesome if he is alive. And if not, then we just do what we need to do. So we'll see what happens.
We are almost out of time, so we've got to move on to the next caller. Please, no one else call in because we'll go all night if that happens. But thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you, Marina. Okay, and coming up next, phone number ending in 06326. Caller, are you there? Did you have a question for Ben and Rob real quick?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Can we get your name?
Yeah, my name is Terry.
Hi, Terry. Did you have a question for Ben and Rob real quick?
Well, actually, I've never watched you two gentlemen, but I will go check out your website. My comment was, and I know this is so off topic, after that lady with the satanic stuff, I just wondered if anybody else in America was totally offended by the way that Fiona Hill treated our representatives in Congress when she testified. I was totally, it just, I can't even say the word. She just was so condescending, saying that our representatives didn't understand the whole Russian collusion, blah, blah, blah. It just really made me mad.
She was a little condescending, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take go ahead and listen to the answer off the air, but thank you very much for calling, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yep, have a great night. Okay, so yeah, what did you guys think about Fiona Hill? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing with the impeachment is just driving me crazy, honestly. I'm just like not even really paying attention a lot to what the other side is saying too much, just because it starts to kind of bother me.
Do we need to talk about this? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really is.
All right. Thank you for that, guys.
We all feel the same way, right?
Yeah.
We all know that it's ridiculous. We all know that something is going on. So, realistically, I think these people are just trying to buy their time and delay things as much as they can because they know they don't really have much.
That's very true.
They are just doing whatever they can, hoping, I'm sure they have other plans in place, but, they're just trying to act fast, but at the same time delay things. And it's all a chess game. That's all it is right now.
That's all it is. All right. Phone number 1625. You're on the air with Ben and Rob. Can we get your name?
Yeah, my name is Curtis Good. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Hello,
Big
Curtis.
fan of Edge of Wonder.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of videos. I've come across both shows, Red Pill and Edge of Wonder, about a year ago. But I've noticed y'all referenced some people that I was Red Pilled in the early 90s, early to mid 90s. But you referenced Bill Schneblin, or William Schneblin, Yeah, Schneblin. Well, when I met him, I think I pronounced it Schneblin. He didn't correct me, so I've just been going by that.
Oh, you met
but
him.
I learned about him. Yes, he was a guest of the Prophecy Club by Stan Johnson, which Stan still does a YouTube channel and stuff like that. And he would do little seminars, rent out the hotel ballroom and stuff and have guests. And Bill was there when he released his book, Masonry Beyond the Light. But I have a lot of Bill stuff, he's got a very interesting story. But Stan Johnson is somebody who's still active, and he's a big follower of Q and things like that. But he's been known about this stuff for years. I think he's somebody you guys should interview and have on.
You said Ken Johnson?
No, he said Stan Johnson, right?
Yeah, Stan Johnson.
Oh, Stan Johnson. Okay.
So, yeah. So he had Mr. Snellin, a lot of other people that know about the Illuminati, Doc Marquis, a lot of other people. To me, these are all the elders of all of this stuff from the early 90s and stuff. So,
all right, Curtis, I hate to cut you short, buddy, but we have reached the top of the hour. If we keep going, then Rob and Ben will have to stay on the phone with us all night.
I'm just going to pee in front of you guys.
All right, so everybody who's...
I just wanted to get that name out. Thanks.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, Stan Johnson. I'll keep a note of it and definitely look into it. And we'll probably
thank you very much.
So
all right. Thanks, you guys. And thank you to everybody who called in tonight. Sorry for the people that are still on the phone. We are out of time. You guys.
Do we want to do the last two that are
if
on
you
there?
If you don't mind, if it's not gonna get into your bathroom break.
You're okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just do the last two guys. No problem.
Caller number 3945. 3945. Can we get your name?
Hi, my name is Joe. Thank you guys so much for your time, and thank you for taking the extra time for this.
Sure. Not a
problem,
Joe.
Wanted to ask you guys, big fans of you guys, all of you guys. Thank you so much for what you guys do. You're doing a great job, and I just wanted to ask a quick question about, you guys talked about the food and the water. I watched your episode on the water. It was very, very eye-opening about how the water can change shapes and things like that. Have you guys learned anything new about what kind of water we should be consuming in terms of like bottled water as opposed to, the tap water?
Nothing is perfect anymore, but I think that I would lean along the alkaline track right now. That's kind of where I'm at. I think alkaline water is really good for people, and it gets their bodies into a good state where their body rejects a lot of things that are going on out there right now. So I would definitely look into purified and alkaline water.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe in the filters, like the things with the filters?
I mean,
like
filters as well. You know, I mean, all this stuff gets, you know, it's just hard with a lot of it. I'm trying not to drink as much bottled water, especially, I mean, because all of the water is just crap in a lot of the bottled waters. But like Rob said, you know, alkaline, some people are on this distilled water. I know James Gilliland from East City, he makes his own water. He has this whole crazy
and that guy Bear Grylls, he drinks his own pee. I don't recommend you do that.
Water world.
All right, caller. Thank you for calling. We've got.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks so
Last
much.
one.
Yep. Bye-bye. Last caller of the evening, PQ Media. Thank you so much for your patience. PQ Media, did you have a question? PQ Media. I think that PQ Media's call might have...
Did he froze?
Yeah, he's frozen, and I can't unmute him.
Man. He was waiting so long, too.
I saw so much smoke coming out of there. I love the statues on the back.
Oh, PQ Media's gone. All right, guys. Well, hey, listen, you guys. Thank you so much for sticking through.
He just came back.
Did he?
No, he didn't.
No.
He looked up. I saw him.
PQ Media, next time, please do, maybe call tomorrow and ask the question, and I can pass it on to Ben and Rob. Well, listen, guys, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for answering all the questions. Thank you for answering all of my questions. It's been a real pleasure having you here. And thank you to everyone in the audience. Thank you for all the super chats. I'm not going to get through these super chats tonight, but I will do that first thing in the show tomorrow. So as always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News for Friday Night Livestream. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.